Hello there, welcome back to the Ogre, the old Git Reacts, Reviews and Off-Times Reminiscences. Today we're doing Fallaness, which is one of those artists that it was a sound, the general sound of the artist that got me to purchase this, rather than the genre or dynamics or anything else. It was a sound that immediately gelled with me. And this is in a part of the genre that very often I'll listen to, but maybe just once, and certainly don't purchase. So the fact that this is in my collection now does emphasise that whatever they're doing it that's in a way that is right up my street. So let's have a wee listen. I've picked probably the fastest track on the album, because that's just me. There are far more atmospheric and strokey chin songs than this, but all of them are well worth your ear. Anyway, let's go. So the artists declare themselves as atmospheric black metal, and that they most certainly are. Other where you when you put your finger on what black metal, what atmospheric black metal is, you can't really put a finger on it. You spread your hands to cover the what may well be the descriptor for that, but. Other tracks here, the slower section that's just coming now perhaps illustrates more what the other tracks sound like, but as I say, I'm a sucker for speed, and so inevitably I've picked the racist of tracks, but it's not, clearly it's not all about the pace on this particular track, and that's one of the things that I suppose can be tricky. I speak as somebody who doesn't play music and has no interest in the technical side of it. If you have a very pleasing atmospheric sound like the rest of the tracks on this album have, it's got to be a little bit tricky maybe, that when you up the ante a bit and set go all guns blazing, to retain the same degree of atmosphere as the other tracks provide. I think by and large it's a different kind of atmosphere, but atmosphere is, isn't it? I mean, atmosphere can have all sorts of connotations, so the fact that the mists are blown away a bit by the gale here doesn't make it any less atmospheric, I suppose. measure for me of music that has changes in paces. Am I happy when my beloved speed desists and goes into slower passage? And that is probably the difference between me buying something and not. And I'm quite happy with the atmosphere, the slower sections on this album, because I listen to different forms of music, albeit with a fairly narrow spectrum for different moods. And this is one of those what am I trying to say? This is the sort of music I listen to when I'm relaxing. So, I mean, to be honest, I can relax to any form of music, even blown out noise. I can drift away to if I'm in the right frame of mind. But more typically, when I'm in a mood for a relaxing moment or two, this is the form of music I'll listen to. But it still has to. It still has to engage with me. I can't just listen to atmospheric music just because that's what it is. It has to have sort of that something that means that although I'm drifting away to it, I'm still paying attention at the same time, and this does that for me. This section here is almost as if you've been walking along on a dank, cloudy day, and the clouds part somewhat, and the sun's not shining brightly. It's still obscured by cloud, but that breaks in the cloud allowing those sunbeams that we always marvel at. And this section here just reminds me of that. It is sort of peering up into the heavens and being lifted by the light when it comes. And I had forgotten. I mean, I've said before, probably far too many times, maybe not. It doesn't do any harm to remind myself that I don't listen to the same music very often. I'm always buying new music, and I've got absolute shit tons of music either digitally or in physical form. Now physical form, my music is up in the attic now, and probably won't come down again until I've turned to dust and the kids are seeing what's and there is actually, my son went up in the attic when he was visiting last year, and came across the vinyl albums, and came down and went, "Dad, that's worth this, that's worth that." I don't care. I'm never going to sell anything. I'm a hoarder when it comes to music, but I'm sure when I'm gone, some record fair somewhere, my prized possessions will be well, they might, if it's a charity shop, they might be going for an absolute bargain, but otherwise some astute person will be making a lot out of the things I leave behind. Anyway, where are we? Had I finished what I was going to say? Because I can't remember where it was. let's go to the end. So there you go. My recollection of how that song ended is totally wrong. I thought it went out on a bit of a belt again, but it didn't. But that's not a problem. It's still enjoyable, and again, it is for a certain mood, and that sunny side up ending is how it appears to me. Other listeners may see in a different light, but that was the sun coming out, or trying to come out for me, and lifted me accordingly. Anyway, so perhaps the second half of that song illustrates maybe a little bit more what the rest of the album sounds like. But it is, as I say, the tone that I like about most of the songs on this album wasn't particularly on that track. So as an example of what the album sounds like, that was probably not the best one, but can't help myself when it comes to some rapid drumming. Anyway, clicky bollocks, catch you next time, cheerio.